Hi everyone, welcome back to day 19 of online learning. I hope everyone had a relaxing and safe spring break. So we're actually moving on to a new unit, and that's unit 7. And this unit focuses on addition and subtraction. And today what we're going to be focusing on is milliliters and liters. And milliliters and liters are a type of liquid volume. And a liquid volume is the amount of space a liquid can take up, and that can be measured in metric units. And those two metric units, those two ways we can measure liquid volume that we're focusing on today, are liters and milliliters. So we have a quick video for you to watch and see how it compares liters and milliliters to each other and how that relates to liquid volume and what that means. As we get started on this unit, we're going to be looking for today and tomorrow, and we're going to be looking at measurement and different ways to measure things. So one way that we're learning about today is liquid volume. So we're going to be learning about liquid volume and then also how we can use those liquid volumes in addition and subtraction problems. So here is the video that we're going to be watching today that compares milliliters and liters together for liquid volume.
What I want to talk about in this video is the liter. The liter. Let me write this down. The liter. And the liter is a unit for measuring fluid volumes, or how much space does a fluid take up. So what does 1 liter look like? Well, one of these milk bottles is a liter, and you're most typically going to think about a liter in your everyday life when you're buying some type of beverages, milk or water. In fact, next time you go to the grocery store, see a lot of the bottles you get, they might be exactly 1 liter. Some of the soda bottles are 2 liters, but this right over here is 1 liter, and we'd write a capital L for short. That's 1 liter, and so there's 6 liters in total in this little carrying case, but each of these milk bottles is 1 liter. So that's a liter, but what if we want to go to really small volumes of water? Well, if we want to go to really small volumes of water, we normally talk about milliliters. Milliliters, let me write this down. Milliliters. Actually, let me write it this way. Let me write milli in another color. Milliliters. So it's a milliliter. And a milliliter, a milli is a prefix that you'll see a lot when you're using units, and that means 1/1000th of a liter. So this means 1/1000th of a liter. And the notation for milliliter is a lowercase m and an uppercase L. Milliliter. Another way to think about it, it would take 1,000 milliliters to get to 1 liter. So what does a milliliter look like? Well, if you imagine these medicine droppers, a milliliter would be about that high on one of those medicine droppers. And a lot of these medicine droppers actually will have a milliliter. Actually, they'll have up to 5 milliliters marked off, but a milliliter would be about that much. Or if you were to take a teaspoon from your cabinet in your kitchen and you were to scoop out a teaspoon of water, so this one over here is going to be about 1 milliliter. And a teaspoon of fluid, that's going to be about 5 milliliters. So another way to think about it is you would have to take 1,000 of these drops to fill one of these bottles of milk. 1,000 milliliters to get to 1 liter. Or you would have to do, you'd have to do 200 teaspoons of, say, milk to fill up this entire thing, because each of them is 5 milliliters. 200 times 5 milliliters, you're going to have 1,000 milliliters, which is 1 liter. Let me write this down. This right over here, this is 1 liter, which is the same thing as 1,000 milliliters. Now, what if we go to things that are much larger? What if we go to things that are much larger than the scale of a jar of milk? Say a swimming pool, and this right over here, this is a picture of a Olympic-sized swimming pool, which is, for the most part, the largest pools. Well, there are some larger pools at some fancy hotels and things, but they're very large pools. So what do you think would be if 1 milk bottle one like this, has a fluid volume of 1 liter? What do you think about a whole swimming pool? Well, actually, a swimming pool like this, if it is 25 meters wide and 50 meters long and 2 meters deep, it actually would have a fluid volume. Are you ready for this? it would have a fluid volume of 2.5 million. 2.5 million liters. So if you fill this up with milk, you could use that milk to fill up 2.5 million of these bottles. So that's just an appreciation for just how much fluid it would take to fill up at least a big swimming pool like this, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. A swimming pool that you might more typically see at someone's house who isn't, that doesn't have an Olympic-sized swimming pool, so kind of a house-sized swimming pool, is still going to be, it's not unusual to see one that'll be more than 100,000 liters. So once again, when you're thinking about teaspoons or drops from a dropper, you're thinking in the milliliter range. If you're thinking about the type of something that you might drink in a day or that your family might drink over, say, a week, you're thinking in really the liter range. And if you're thinking about how much fluid it would take to fill a swimming pool, now you're talking in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of liter range.
So what that video just explained to us is that how liters and milliliters are compared to each other. And it said that liters, an abbreviation, is just an L, and milliliters is ML. And what I want you to do is pause the video and think about what is bigger, a milliliter or a liter. So what the man said is that this is 1 liter. This seltzer is 1 liter. One liter. And in order to make this the same measurement as milliliters, it would take 1,000 milliliters to be equal to 1 liter. So that means that liters are bigger than milliliters. So there's different types of liquids that are measured in liters and in milliliters. Milliliters would be used to measure things that are really, really small, like when you take cough medicine or when you take liquid medicine or in drops. It'd be measured in milliliters because it's a smaller unit of measurement. But things that are bigger, like soda bottles, this seltzer bottle, and bigger volumes would be measured in liters. For your half day today, you're going to do page 383. I want us to first go over number 1 and I'm going to show you exactly how I want your problem to look. So it says a juice carton has 300 milliliters in it. A different juice carton has 145 milliliters in it. How much juice is in both cartons? I'm going to first take notes of this problem and figure out what my rules are. So it says a juice carton has 300 milliliters in it. So 1 juice carton is 300, and I remember that milliliters can just be abbreviated to ML. A different juice carton has 145 milliliters in it. So another juice carton is 145 milliliters. How much juice is in both cartons? So what is the question that I'm trying to figure out? Pause me and think, what question am I trying to figure out? I'm trying to figure out how much juice in both, that keyword both, cartons. Pause me and think about an equation that I can do to show this. If I was to make an equation to represent this problem, I would see that it wants to figure out how much in both cartons. So that means how much all together. And I know that when something's asking me for all together, that means I'm going to be adding up both juice cartons. So my equation would be 300 plus 145 equals what? And I know that's going to be in milliliters. So pause me now and think about the different ways that you can solve for 300 plus 145 and figure out what my answer is. So how I can solve for this is on a number line. And I'm using a number line because even though I'm at home right now, and even though you're at home right now, I still want us to be using the number line. That way we can make sure that our answers are correct. So 300 plus 145. So this would be 100 plus 40 plus 5. So I'd start at 300. Pause me and think about what I would add next. I would then add my hundreds, so plus 100, and 300 plus 100 is 400. Pause me about what I would add now. I would now add my tens place, so plus 40. So 400 plus 10 is 410, plus another 10, 420. No, plus another 10, 430, plus another 10, 440. And what do I need to add now? I need to add my ones place. So plus 5. And 440 plus 5 is 441, 442, 443, 444, 445. So my answer is 445 milliliters. Pause me and think about what is my answer telling me. What my answer is telling me is that there's 445 milliliters of juice in both cartons. And I'm making sure that I'm labeling it milliliters because that's my unit of measurement. I measured in milliliters and milliliters, so my unit of measurement is in milliliters. That's what my juice is measured in. What I want you to do is just how we wrote the rules and showed our work using a number line, I want you to complete the rest of 383. Make sure you write your rules and show your work using a number line for the rest of these problems. So now I'm going to read your have to. So your have to today is to complete 383, and then you're going to do 15 minutes of IXL, and that's only the highlighted skills. Your criteria for success: in order to get a 3, you need to do all of the problems and show your work for every problem.